Have you ever felt drained by someone's toxic words or actions, a critical boss, a judgmental family member, or even a stranger online? Toxic encounters can leave us questioning how to keep our peace. Here's the good news: you can rise above it. Imagine facing these moments with unshakable calm and confidence. Today, we'll explore a powerful story from Buddha's life that reveals how to disarm negativity, transform toxic moments, and protect your inner peace. How would Buddha, the ultimate symbol of serenity, handle a toxic person today? Let's find out together. Number 1. The story of Buddha and the toxic man. Before we dive into the principles, let me share a meaningful story. In a peaceful grove where Buddha often taught his disciples, a man approached, visibly consumed by anger. His heavy footsteps echoed in the calm surroundings as his sharp words shattered the tranquility. "You are nothing but a fraud," he yelled, his voice filled with venom, each word aimed to provoke an insult. Despite the harsh words, Buddha sat still, his face radiating kindness. He didn't respond, argue, or defend himself. Instead, he simply smiled, a serene, knowing smile that seemed impervious to the man's rage. The disciples nearby watched in amazement, their instincts urging them to intervene, yet they held back, following their teacher's example. The man's insults continued, but the Buddha remained unshaken, his calmness like an immovable mountain amidst a storm. Gradually, the man's voice began to falter, his anger exhausted against the unyielding wall of Buddha's peace. Silence eventually fell over the grove. Buddha then turned to the man and asked a simple yet profound question. "Do you often receive visitors at your home?" Surprised by the unexpected shift in conversation, the man replied, "Yes, I do." "And when they come," Buddha continued, "do you offer them food and drink?" "Yes," the man answered, his anger now replaced by curiosity. Buddha smiled. "If they refuse what you offer, to whom does the food and drink belong?" The man thought for a moment before answering, "It would remain mine. I would keep it." "Exactly," Buddha said. "In the same way, you have offered me your anger and insults, but I do not accept them. They remain with you." The man stood in stunned silence as realization dawned. The burden of his own negativity now weighed heavily on him. In that moment, his anger melted away, replaced by a sense of humility and clarity. He bowed before the Buddha and asked for guidance, vowing to change his ways. Imagine yourself in Buddha's place. Someone approaches you, spewing anger and insults. What would your reaction be? Most of us might retaliate, defend ourselves, or feel hurt. But Buddha's example shows us that true strength lies in not accepting the negativity handed to us. When we choose calmness and understanding over reaction, we not only protect our peace but also disarm the person confronting us. Buddha's metaphor of unaccepted gifts holds a deep truth. When we accept someone's negativity, whether it's anger, criticism, or insults, we allow their emotions to affect us. But when we refuse to accept it, as Buddha did, it remains with them. It's a lesson in emotional resilience. We have the power to choose what we let into our minds and hearts. This story isn't just about a man and a Buddha, it's a lesson for all of us. Every day, we encounter negativity, whether it's from a coworker, a family member, or even a stranger online. The choice is ours. Will we accept the negativity and let it disturb our peace, or will we let it stay where it belongs with its giver? Number 2. Practical examples and stories. Toxic behavior manifests in countless ways in modern life, often catching us off guard in environments where we expect fairness, understanding, or camaraderie. Let's break this down into specific scenarios at work, within families, and in a digital world where Buddha's teachings on handling negativity can be applied to maintain peace and protect our emotional well-being. Imagine this: you've spent weeks on a project, pouring in effort and late nights to ensure everything is perfect. The day comes to present it to your boss, but instead of acknowledgement or constructive feedback, you're met with unfair criticism. This isn't good enough. Why are you always so slow? The words sting, and your initial reaction might be frustration or hurt. Here's where Buddhist teachings become a lifeline. Reflecting on the story of the unaccepted gifts, you can remind yourself, this criticism doesn't have to define me unless I let it. Pause, breathe, and decide not to take the comments personally. Instead, focus on separating the words from your sense of self-worth. For instance, I remember a time early in my career when I faced a similar situation. My supervisor criticized my work in front of the team, leaving me embarrassed and defensive. Initially, I wanted to argue and defend myself, but I decided to stay calm. Later, I reviewed their feedback objectively. Was there any truth to their comments? Surprisingly, I found areas where I could improve. By addressing those, I not only improved my skills but also showed my resilience. Over time, my composed reactions earned me respect, much like how Buddha's calmness disarmed the toxic man. Family is often a source of love and support, but it can also be a space where toxic dynamics emerge. Imagine a controlling relative who constantly imposes their opinions on you, questioning your choices in education, career, or relationships. Their words may sound something like, "You're making a big mistake. Why can't you do things my way?" In such situations, Buddha's wisdom can help you navigate without losing your peace. Instead of engaging in an argument or allowing their words to trigger self-doubt, approach the conversation with compassion and detachment. A calm response such as, "I appreciate your concern, but this decision feels right for me," can diffuse the tension without fueling it. I recall a family gathering where an elder relative openly criticized my life choices, comparing them unfavorably to those of a cousin. My first instinct was to lash out, but instead, I chose silence and a polite smile, much like Buddha's calm response to the angry man. Later, I had a private conversation with them, expressing gratitude for their concern but setting boundaries respectfully. That experience taught me the power of refusing to accept negativity while still honoring relationships. In the digital age, negativity often finds a home online. Social media platforms are filled with trolls and critics who hide behind anonymity to spread negativity. Imagine posting something you're proud of, perhaps a personal achievement, an artistic creation, or even a simple opinion, only to have strangers leave rude or hurtful comments. Instead of engaging in a back-and-forth battle with the trolls, consider Buddha's approach. Remember, their words only have power if you choose to accept them. Responding with silence or a neutral tone denies them the reaction they seek. For example, replying with "Thank you for sharing your perspective," can often disarm them, leaving their negativity to linger with them alone. I once shared a creative project online that I had worked hard on, only to receive a particularly harsh comment. Initially, I felt the urge to defend my work, but I paused and reminded myself of Buddha's metaphor of unaccepted gifts. Instead of responding angrily, I left a simple thank you note and focused on the positive comments from others. Not only did this preserve my peace, but it also set an example of grace for others witnessing the exchange. In each of these scenarios, the key is to shift your mindset. Toxic people often project their inner struggles onto others, and reacting emotionally only gives them what they seek. Buddha's story reminds us that we have the power to break this cycle by choosing not to engage with their negativity. Reflecting on my own experiences, I've learned that moments of calm in the face of conflict often lead to surprising outcomes, whether it's earning respect, diffusing tension, or inspiring others to adopt a more composed approach. By applying these teachings to real-life situations, we transform challenges into opportunities for growth. Whether it's a boss, a relative, or an online critic, the principles of compassion, self-awareness, and detachment are universally effective tools for maintaining inner peace. These moments are not just tests of patience, they are opportunities to practice strength and wisdom in the face of adversity. In the next section, we'll delve deeper into the psychology behind toxic behavior to understand why it happens and how mastering our own minds is the ultimate key to handling such situations. Number 3. Analysis of toxic behavior. To understand how to effectively handle toxic people, it's essential to explore the psychology behind their behavior. Toxic actions are rarely random, they often stem from deeper emotional or psychological struggles. By understanding the root of this negativity, we can approach these situations with greater empathy and strength, guided by Buddhist principles. Toxic behavior is frequently a manifestation of internal conflict, insecurity, or unresolved trauma. Anger, for instance, is often a sign of mental weakness rather than strength. It arises when individuals feel out of control, misunderstood, or threatened. Instead of addressing these emotions constructively, they project their frustration onto others. This external expression of anger serves as a temporary release, but it does little to resolve the deeper issues. Buddha understood this dynamic well. In his teachings, he emphasized that anger is like holding a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You end up burning yourself. Toxic people, often unknowingly, harm themselves more than anyone else through their negativity. Their behavior is a reflection of their inner turmoil, not of the person they direct it toward. For example, a coworker who constantly criticizes others may be struggling with feelings of inadequacy. By pointing out flaws in others, they attempt to mask their own insecurities. Similarly, a family member who frequently argues may be grappling with a need for control, feeling powerless in other aspects of their life. Understanding this helps us see toxic behavior not as a personal attack but as a cry for help from someone who is suffering. A common pattern among toxic individuals is their need for validation through confrontation. When they provoke others, they are seeking a reaction: anger, frustration, or even tears. These reactions validate their influence, reinforcing their sense of control or superiority. This is why responding to toxic behavior with similar negativity often escalates the situation. When we engage in arguments or try to win against them, we feed their desire for attention and validation. Buddha's approach, remaining calm and refusing to accept their negativity, is so effective because it denies them the power they seek. By not reacting, we strip them of their control over the situation. Consider the story of the toxic man who insulted Buddha. His anger was fueled by a desire to provoke a reaction, but Buddha's calm and unyielding demeanor left him disarmed. Without a reaction to feed on, the man's anger burned out, leaving him to confront his own behavior. This principle applies universally. When we deny toxic individuals the validation they seek, we neutralize their power. At the heart of Buddhist teachings is the principle of non-attachment, which offers profound insight into handling toxic behavior. Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference or apathy, rather, it's the ability to engage with the world without being controlled by it. When applied to interactions with toxic people, non-attachment allows us to remain calm and composed, no matter how provocative their behavior may be. Non-attachment teaches us that we are not defined by the opinions or actions of others. When someone directs anger or criticism toward us, their words are not inherently harmful unless we choose to accept them. By practicing non-attachment, we learn to observe these interactions without letting them disrupt our inner peace. Staying calm in the face of negativity is a strength, not a weakness. It takes far more self-control and inner stability to resist the urge to retaliate than to react impulsively. This calmness also has a ripple effect. Our composure can diffuse tension and influence others to respond more thoughtfully. For instance, in a heated argument, one person's calmness often acts as a grounding force, preventing the situation from escalating further. By embodying non-attachment, we not only protect ourselves but also create an environment where resolution becomes possible. Understanding the psychology of toxic behavior and applying non-attachment can transform our interactions with others. It shifts our perspective from seeing toxic people as adversaries to recognizing them as individuals struggling with their own challenges. This perspective fosters compassion, enabling us to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. For example, if a colleague criticizes you unfairly, instead of taking it personally, you can acknowledge their perspective without internalizing their negativity. Responding calmly might even lead them to reflect on their own behavior. Similarly, with a toxic family member, practicing non-attachment can help you maintain boundaries without severing the relationship. Buddha's refusal to accept the toxic man's anger was not just an act of emotional resilience, it was a profound demonstration of non-attachment. By staying calm, he not only preserved his peace but also offered the man an opportunity to reflect and change. This principle is timeless, offering a roadmap for handling negativity in our own lives. In the next section, we'll delve into actionable strategies to cultivate the mindset and skills needed to practice these principles in everyday situations. Let's explore how we can embody calmness, compassion, and wisdom, even in the face of toxicity. Number 4. Actionable strategies. Handling toxic people effectively requires not just understanding their behavior but also equipping yourself with practical tools to navigate these challenging interactions. Buddhist teachings provide a strong foundation, but translating those principles into everyday practice involves intentional strategies. Below is a step-by-step guide to help you stay composed, grounded, and compassionate when faced with toxicity. Step 1. Pause and breathe. The first step to handling a toxic situation is simple yet powerful: pause and breathe. When someone confronts you with negativity, your initial reaction might be to respond emotionally, whether through anger, frustration, or hurt. However, reacting immediately often fuels the conflict. Instead, take a moment to center yourself. Inhale deeply through your nose, hold for a few seconds, and exhale slowly. Repeat this a few times to regain control of your emotions. This short pause creates a mental buffer, allowing you to choose your response rather than acting on impulse. Example affirmation: I am in control of my emotions. I will respond thoughtfully, not react impulsively. Step 2. Respond, don't react. Once you've paused and calmed your initial emotional response, focus on responding rather than reacting. A reaction is often driven by emotion and instinct, while a response is intentional and grounded in thoughtfulness. Toxic individuals often provoke us to elicit a reaction that validates their behavior. By refusing to react emotionally, you deny them that satisfaction. Responding doesn't always mean saying something. Sometimes, silence or a neutral expression is the most effective way to communicate that you're not engaging with their negativity. For example, if a coworker criticizes you unfairly, a calm reply such as, "Thank you for your feedback," delivered in a neutral tone, can disarm them without escalating the situation. Example affirmation: I will not let their negativity dictate my response. My calmness is my strength. Step 3. Reflect on their words. Not all criticism or negativity is baseless. Toxic people might express their thoughts harshly, but sometimes, there could be a kernel of truth in their words. Reflecting on what they've said allows you to determine whether there's any value in their criticism. Ask yourself, is there truth in what they are saying? Have I made a mistake that I can learn from? If their words contain valid feedback, acknowledge it internally and use it as an opportunity for growth. If their criticism is baseless or malicious, remind yourself that their negativity reflects more about them than it does about you. Example affirmation: I will reflect on their words with an open mind but will not internalize unnecessary negativity. Step 4. Set boundaries. Boundaries are essential when dealing with toxic individuals. While compassion is important, it doesn't mean tolerating disrespect or allowing someone to repeatedly harm your peace of mind. Learn when to disengage or walk away from a situation that is becoming toxic. Setting boundaries can be as simple as politely excusing yourself from a conversation. "I think it's best if we discuss this later when things have calmed down." Clearly communicating limits. "I understand your concerns, but I will not engage in disrespectful conversations." By asserting your boundaries, you protect your emotional space while maintaining dignity and respect for yourself. Example affirmation: "I deserve peace and respect." Setting boundaries is an act of self-care. Step 5. Practice compassion. One of the hardest yet most transformative strategies is practicing compassion toward toxic individuals. As explored earlier, toxic behavior often stems from inner struggles, pain, insecurity, or fear. Recognizing this can help you respond with understanding rather than retaliation. Compassion doesn't mean condoning their behavior, but it shifts your perspective. Instead of seeing them as an adversary, view them as someone who is hurting. This shift not only helps you maintain your calm but might also influence them to change their approach. For instance, if a family member lashes out during an argument, remind yourself that their anger could stem from their own unresolved issues. A response like, "I hear what you're saying, and I hope we can find a way to understand each other better," can diffuse tension and foster dialogue. Example affirmation: "I choose compassion over conflict. Their struggles will not become my burden." Step 6. Integrate affirmations. Affirmations are a powerful tool to reinforce your mindset and maintain calm in difficult situations. Repeating affirmations silently or aloud during moments of stress can ground you and remind you of your strength. Here are some affirmations to use in the moment. "I am calm, I am grounded, and this negativity will not affect me. I choose peace over anger. My emotions are my own to control. I release their negativity and hold on to my inner peace." By using these affirmations, you create a mental shield that prevents toxic energy from penetrating your emotional space. So why these strategies work? Each of these strategies aligns with the principles of Buddhist teachings. Pausing and breathing mirrors mindfulness, responding without reacting reflects non-attachment, and practicing compassion aligns with loving kindness. Together, they empower you to handle toxic interactions with grace and wisdom, transforming potential conflicts into opportunities for personal growth. In the next section, we'll explore how to integrate these practices into daily life and build the mental resilience needed to navigate toxic situations effortlessly. Remember, every interaction with a toxic person is a chance to strengthen your emotional intelligence and deepen your understanding of yourself and others. Number 5. Personal reflections and stories. As we delve deeper into handling toxic situations, real-life stories, both personal and those of inspiring figures, serve as powerful reminders of how wisdom, patience, and resilience can transform even the most challenging interactions. These anecdotes not only humanize the principles we've discussed but also demonstrate their practical applications in diverse scenarios. A few years ago, I encountered a particularly difficult coworker in my first full-time job. This individual had a habit of undermining others in meetings, often interrupting or dismissing ideas with a tone of superiority. At one point, during a team discussion, they openly criticized the proposal I had spent weeks preparing. Their words were sharp, and I could feel the tension in the room as everyone turned to see my reaction. In that moment, anger surged within me. My instinct was to defend myself, to argue and prove my worth. But then I remembered something a mentor had once told me: "You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to." Taking a deep breath, I chose silence. Instead of engaging, I calmly said, "Thank you for the feedback. I'll consider your perspective." I maintained eye contact, smiled slightly, and let the discussion move forward. Later, I quietly approached a supportive colleague and asked for constructive feedback on my proposal. To my relief, they reassured me that my work was solid and well thought out. By not reacting emotionally, I preserved my professional reputation and earned respect for my composure. Over time, even the critical coworker began to soften, perhaps realizing their confrontational tactics didn't achieve the desired effect. This experience taught me the power of choosing silence and calmness over impulsive reactions. It wasn't easy, but it proved that maintaining inner peace often speaks louder than any argument could. One of the most inspiring examples of handling toxicity with grace comes from former First Lady Michelle Obama. Throughout her time in the public eye, she faced a barrage of criticism and personal attacks. Yet, she consistently embodied composure and dignity, famously saying, "When they go low, we go high." This mantra became a guiding principle for many, emphasizing the importance of rising above negativity instead of sinking to its level. During a particularly intense period of public scrutiny, Michelle Obama used her platform to focus on empowering others rather than addressing her critics directly. She channeled her energy into initiatives like Let's Move and Reach Higher, showing that the best response to toxicity is often success and contribution. Her ability to remain focused on her values and purpose, despite external negativity, is a testament to the strength of emotional resilience. It's a reminder that toxic words only have the power we give them, and rising above challenges is the ultimate victory. Sometimes, profound lessons come from everyday moments. I recall a story shared by a friend who worked as a server in a busy restaurant. One evening, she was assigned to a particularly difficult table, a group of customers who seemed determined to make her shift miserable. They complained about everything, from the temperature of the food to the speed of service, often with sharp, condescending remarks. Rather than retaliating or letting their negativity ruin her evening, my friend chose to respond with kindness. She addressed their complaints with patience, ensured their needs were met, and even offered complimentary desserts as a gesture of goodwill. By the end of the meal, one of the customers, seemingly surprised by her composure, apologized for their behavior and left a generous tip. This simple act of kindness didn't just diffuse a toxic situation, it transformed it. It reinforced the idea that responding to negativity with compassion can not only preserve your peace but also inspire others to reflect on their own actions. Of course, not every encounter with toxicity has been a success. I've had moments where I've fallen into the trap of reacting emotionally. I recall a heated argument with a friend over a misunderstanding. Feeling cornered, I let my frustration take over and said things I regretted. While I eventually apologized, the damage to the relationship took time to heal. That experience was a humbling reminder of the importance of self-awareness. It showed me how quickly emotions can escalate a situation and how much more effective it is to pause, breathe, and choose my words carefully. Now, whenever I feel anger rising, I remind myself of that moment and strive to do better. From personal experiences to the actions of leaders like Michelle Obama and everyday heroes like my friend, one truth becomes clear. Toxic situations are opportunities to practice the virtues of patience, kindness, and resilience. While it's natural to feel hurt or frustrated, the decision to rise above negativity is always within our control. These stories also highlight the transformative power of Buddhist teachings. Whether it's refusing to accept someone's anger, responding with silence, or practicing compassion, these principles are timeless and universally applicable. They remind us that toxic individuals are not our enemies, they are individuals navigating their own struggles. By choosing not to engage with their negativity, we not only protect ourselves but also create a ripple effect of positivity and understanding. As we move forward, let's embrace these lessons in our own lives. Toxicity will always exist, but so too will the opportunity to meet it with grace, wisdom, and compassion. After all, every challenge is a chance to grow stronger and wiser, just as Buddha demonstrated so long ago. Number 6. Philosophical insights. Buddhist teachings offer profound insights into managing anger, cultivating compassion, and practicing right speech, all of which are essential when dealing with toxic individuals. These principles remind us that the way we handle negativity not only shapes our inner world but also influences those around us. In Buddhism, anger is often described as a destructive force that blinds the mind and poisons the heart. Buddha likened anger to holding a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else. You end up burning yourself in the process. Recognizing this, the teachings urge us to approach anger with mindfulness, observing it without becoming consumed by it. By acknowledging anger as a fleeting emotion rather than a permanent state, we gain the power to release it. When faced with toxic behavior, choosing calmness over anger is not an act of passivity but one of strength. It's a deliberate refusal to let someone else's negativity dictate your state of mind. This choice not only protects your peace but also prevents the toxic cycle from escalating. Compassion, or karuna in Buddhism, is the antidote to anger. It involves understanding the suffering of others and responding with kindness. Toxic individuals often project their own pain onto others, and meeting their negativity with compassion can have a transformative effect. For instance, instead of reacting harshly to someone's criticism, acknowledging their perspective with empathy. "I see you're upset. Let's find a way to resolve this together," can diffuse tension and open the door to constructive dialogue. This doesn't mean tolerating disrespect but rather choosing to respond from a place of understanding rather than retaliation. Right speech, a cornerstone of the Buddhist Eightfold Path, emphasizes using words that are truthful, kind, and beneficial. When dealing with toxic individuals, practicing right speech means avoiding words that might inflame the situation. Instead, speak with honesty and calmness, aiming to de-escalate rather than provoke. This principle teaches us that silence can sometimes be the most powerful form of communication. When words are unnecessary or likely to cause harm, choosing not to speak becomes an act of wisdom. Maintaining inner peace doesn't just benefit you, it influences everyone around you. Calmness is contagious. When you respond to negativity with composure, it often disarms the other person and sets the tone for a more peaceful interaction. Over time, this ripple effect can inspire others to adopt a similar approach, creating a more harmonious environment. Imagine a workplace where one individual consistently practices mindfulness and compassion. Their actions can shift the energy of the entire team, fostering collaboration and reducing conflict. In this way, your commitment to inner peace becomes a gift not just to yourself but to everyone you encounter. By embracing these Buddhist principles, mindfulness in anger, compassion in response, and right speech in communication, we can navigate toxic situations with grace and wisdom. These teachings remind us that the path to peace begins within, but its impact extends far beyond ourselves. As we've seen throughout this video, toxic people are not just obstacles, they are opportunities. They test your emotional resilience, challenge your patience, and offer you a chance to grow stronger. The Buddha's story teaches us that we don't have to accept the negativity that others bring to us. Instead, we can smile, stay calm, reflect, and let go. Remember, every time you refuse to engage with toxicity, you're choosing inner peace over chaos. You're proving to yourself and to those around you that strength isn't about fighting fire with fire. It's about standing firm in your own calm, refusing to let someone else's anger or negativity take root in your mind and heart. So, the next time you face a toxic person, whether it's at work, at home, or online, pause and ask yourself, how can I respond in a way that preserves my peace? How can I take this as a chance to practice grace and wisdom? We'd love to hear your thoughts. What has been your most challenging experience with toxic people? How did you handle it? Or how would you handle it differently after hearing today's lesson? Share your stories in the comments below because your experience might just help someone else on their journey. Thank you for spending your time with us today on Buddha's Odyssey. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our future content. Remember, each interaction, no matter how difficult, is a chance to grow stronger and wiser. Until next time, take a deep breath, let go of what doesn't serve you, and stay grounded in your peace. See you in the next video.